hell is even that?
The Western world is devolving into chaos at a rapid pace. We've hit the point where some people are even calling to bring back segregation.
Black children need to be separated from white children.
As always, stick around to the end for the recap, this week's woke news, and much, much more.
I'm going to be real, and I don't give a fuck what anybody say. Black children need to be separated from white children and any other race when it comes to education, because no other race, especially white people, will tell the black person's history truthfully about where they come from, who they are, and what they are. The white person will only suppress the black person's history to maintain their genetic survival, to bring about a news story that doesn't even exist.
Where is he going with this?
Now I suppose mixed-race children will just have to spend half their day at one school and half their day at the other. Honestly, this kind of delusional idea is exactly what our world needs less of right now. And speaking of delusion, see if anyone is fooled by what this next man is portraying himself to be.
So I just got home from work, and today, for the first time, I dressed fully feminine in public, in the broad light of day. It was to a luncheon at my work with the board of directors of the theater company I work for. I wore my lemon dress and my keffiyeh. And you know, it in the grand scheme of things might seem like a small victory, but you gotta let yourself celebrate your small victories. Because there's a lot of times when those big ones feel really few and far between.
Now, if you're trying to be seen as a woman, then you should at the very least start shaving like one. But of course, social media just keeps on validating delusions like this. And next up is yet another man who's chosen to transition over to female in order to feel their more, quote-unquote, authentic self.
An Oregon teacher transitioned to female over the summer. In an email to students and parents, Kristen Thiel announced she will be back to school identifying as her authentic self. Thiel informed the readers she prefers to be called Miss and uses she, her, hers pronouns. McNary High School asked to respect the teacher's new identity. The letter sparked mixed reactions online, with some users calling it inappropriate.
Now, I don't know why every other teacher I see on social media these days is either trans or obsessed with teaching LGBTQ ideology, but do let me know in the comments whether you think it's a big deal or not. For me personally, raising young children in an environment that constantly focuses on gender and sexual identity just creates more internal confusion, as we'll see in our next clip.
I am genderqueer, transmasc, and queer.
What's transmasc?
Transmasc is like people under the non-binary umbrella identifying like or presenting masc.
Masculine?
Yeah.
What about you?
I'm trans and my sexuality is unlabeled. I use he, him pronouns.
Yeah, and I use he, they pronouns.
Fluid.
Fluid. Can you explain what that means to me a little bit more?
Whatever turns you on.
Pronouns.
She, her, it. I feel like, honestly, it should not be a bad thing. Like, I've talked to people who go with they and them. I'm like, well, in the grammar of things, how would you want to represent yourself? I was like, I mean, I guess it. Because it's like, you're it. You're the it. Like, it shouldn't be a bad name. It should just be owned.
Gay. Yes. Yes, I identify as he, she, her, they. She.
I guess you could call me gay. I'm homo-flexible, really. I do like some women, but mostly men.
I'm a male. I identify as a man. As far as sexuality is concerned, I'm kind of open. Like, I mean, if you excite me, then you excite me, you know?
I will forever support a child who wants to do whatever they want with their... I will always be there for any children who want to pursue drag things that they are LGBT in any sort of way. I will always support.
This is the worst.
Now, calling this gender dysphoria doesn't even begin to capture the problem. But if you choose to neglect your parental duties and let the world raise your kids, then I'm pretty sure you can't be too surprised when the outcome looks something like this. Although the opposite can be true as well. Up next are two future parents who probably shouldn't ever educate their kids.
Jack Squared, your least favorite trans autistic couple. In the last video, I said I was Jax 1 and they were Jax A. But a bunch of you wondered, well, how can you have the same names? First of all, we both have J dead names. I was J when I met them, and they were Jax when they met me. And I go, hold the f*** up. That's the coolest name I've ever heard. Would it be weird if I started going by Jax too? And they let me know in less words that no, it wouldn't be weird if we were called the same thing. It's actually a lot easier to refer to us that way. We'll change it up every now and then just to make sure that you fucking weirdos out there don't think that there's some sort of power dynamic when I call myself 1 and them A, or them 1 and me 2. First of all, you don't have to be trans to change your name. Little Bobby turned into Bob, who turned into Robert, and that's just as valid. Trans people changing their names to better fit their identity is the exact same thing. But if you are trans, from our experience, changing your name first and trying to get people to accept that is a lot easier in the social dynamic of it all. Affirmations and validation comes in many forms, and Little Bobby is going to feel a lot better when you call him Bob instead of Little Bobby, just like we feel a lot better when you call us Jax. Until next time.
Wish I had the last 20 seconds of my life back.
If dying for attention was a lifestyle, then this is probably what it would look like. I'm not sure why every liberal seems to overestimate their importance, because I can confidently say no one really cares about their gender identity enough to warrant videos like this. And let's have a moment for the poor children who'll be born into parents like Jax and Jax, as our next two clips paint an even more grim picture for the next generation.
Others asked a more prescient question. Why are so many kids of Hollywood actors and other celebrities transgender? Ben Affleck's daughter came out as transgender during her grandfather's funeral. They them then, they them now. Take Megan Fox. I can't even show you pictures of her 3 sons looking like boys, because they pretty much always looked like this. Should the parents have something to do with it? Megan's got competition. Carrie and David Grant's 3 daughters now all identify as boys. They them then, they them now. Sean Penn and Charlize Theron's adopted child Jackson. They them then, they them now. Jamie Lee Curtis. Then, they them now. Sigourney Weaver. Non-binary daughter. Jennifer Lopez's 16-year-old daughter. Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt's 17-year-old daughter Sheila. Started out looking like this and asking to be called John. Now has apparently grown out of it. Dwayne Wade's son. They them then, they them now. Cher's daughter Chaz Bono. They them then, they them now. Why do you think so many Hollywood kids identify as transgender, and often at such an early age?
Doesn't it just fill you with pride, showing who you are on the inside? Wave that pride flag up high, be true to you. Show your pride with those flags, everybody. Here we go. Red like orange, healing yellow is sunlight. Green, nature blue, harmony, purple is spirit. Baby blue, pink, white represent transgender people, and black and brown represent the queer and trans people of color.
Now you're probably wondering why sexual agendas are needed in kids' television programming. For the record, one cares about your sexual orientation as long as you stop trying to broadcast it to children who haven't even hit puberty yet. And it's even more sad to see that children of Hollywood's celebrities are almost always sacrificed for their parents' publicity and stardom. For our final clip of the day, let's take one last look at the standard of school teachers educating our children.
One of my favorite things to remember is that I've had a lot of jobs before I started working out of school, and one of which was working in a factory, a pastry factory, and it was like 10 to 12 hour days of just like a lot of emotional and mental abuse. And well, I got pretty mentally ill and pretty tired and pretty sick of it, and I just started, like, whenever I had to fart, I just fart all over the pastries. Like, it was so loud in there you couldn't hear, and so I just farted on so many pastries. And if you live around here and have done me wrong, you've probably eaten my farts, and that feels pretty good.
Did you put in my lunch? Oh!
Now, I don't think it was necessary for her to tell us that she was mentally ill. We probably could have figured that one out on our own. But this isn't the only bit of madness we've seen today. Besides pastry workers that'll send you to the hospital, we've also seen plenty of folks whose supposed gender identity will leave you questioning your eyesight, and proponents of segregation who'll make you think you're living in the 1800s. But there's one more bit of insanity that'll just leave you shaking your head. So some of you may have seen the recent trailers for My Lady Jane, which is a historical romance TV series out on Amazon Prime. And this show has some questionable woke casting, including a black disabled and gay King of England, which for reasons I hopefully don't need to state, makes absolutely no sense given the historical context. Now, it's worth repeating that the TV series is fictional, but it's still crazy to me that TV executives are this obsessed with pandering that they alter history in order to cross off as many DEI boxes with just one character. And I'm honestly surprised they didn't make the king transgender as well. Not only are these woke renditions of history adding nothing to enhance the material, but they stick out like a sore thumb. At this rate, you might as well make a show about the African kings of old and cast Mel Gibson as a Nubian king. But as always, let me know if you agree or disagree in the comments. That's it for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next episode.